welcome to Dr. Tao's YouTube channel. In this channel, I'm going to interview Howard County Public School graduates. I want them to share their experience and give some advice to our incoming high school students. Today, we are inviting Mr. Cooper Stepke, who graduated from Marriotts Ridge High School in 2019. He's now attending Cornell University, majoring industry and labor relations. Welcome, Cooper. Can you give a self-introduction?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dr. Wu. I'm Cooper Stepke. I graduated from Marriotts Ridge in 2019. I currently attend Cornell University, where I study industrial and labor relations, which is kind of like business, but not so much the economics side of it, but more of the behavioral aspect and management, labor unions, things like that. And I'm also pursuing a minor in Near Eastern Studies, which is like Middle Eastern affairs. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And Cooper, thank you very much for taking the time speaking with me. I really appreciate that. And my first question for you. So what was your biggest challenge when you were in high school, the senior year? How do you overcome them?
Okay, so senior year of high school, the biggest challenge was definitely balancing the social aspect to the academic aspect, because senior year, you kind of realize that this is your last year being at home with the people you grew up with your family. And there's a lot of extracurricular activities outside of school that go on. But then again, you also have to focus on your academic schedule, college applications, standardized tests. So balancing that was definitely difficult, but I overcame that by just staying on top of things, getting out ahead of my work. And you can really have it all. A lot of people don't think you can, but if you work hard enough and focus, you can definitely do a good job of balancing the social and academic aspects.
I see. So it's really find the balance between different activities, and it's critical in the last year. So
Yes.
If you think about your 4 year in high school, what do you think the biggest challenge was, and how do you overcome that?
The biggest challenge throughout all of high school was probably just the rigor of classes that I took year in and year out. You really don't want to take a year off. You don't want to take even a period off. You want to try to take the schedule that's most beneficial to you every single year, every single period. And just the constant work and that went into it was a big challenge. But same thing, if you just stay ahead of it, if you work harder than the things that are coming your way, it only gets easier and easier as you go along.
I see. So you mean it's kind of, you need to keep track or keep really good track about all the courses. If you don't fall behind, then you'll be able to really
you
just follow up.
Yeah, you definitely want to plan out in advance too. You don't want to get too technical with it, because you still want to take things that you're interested in and take things that you would enjoy. But starting out with a good plan as you're entering high school, that's important for figuring out what track you want to go down and learning things about yourself.
I see. So just one curious question. How many AP courses did you take?
I took sophomore year, I took 2, junior year, I took 6, and senior year, I took 6, so 14.
Is that an average number?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that an odd number?
No, because I
think, yeah.
The reason I ask is because I asked some other interviewers that they maybe take like 14 or 15 or 16. And then I heard like some students only take 5 APs, right? So I just want to see how people make a balance there.
Yeah, I think it's higher than average, but at the same time, I think that AP classes are kind of overhyped by teachers and just parents in general, people in general. I think that the AP in front of the class name shouldn't scare you out of taking a class, because it's not that it's more work, it's just harder work. So it's not that you don't have time for it, you just have to focus more. And I think that anyone is capable of succeeding in an AP class if they just focus and work hard.
I see. Thanks for sharing that. So what do you think the most unique academic experience for you in the high school?
Probably my junior year AP English class. That was kind of life-changing for me in terms of the books we read and the insight that my teacher, Tracy Rizzo, provided for us. I've never really had a teacher as dedicated and insightful, and she was very careful about choosing what we read and what assignments we were assigned. And we read, for example, Frederick Douglass's autobiography. That changed my outlook on a lot of things in life. We read Into the Wild, which changed my views on a lot of things. So that was definitely a unique experience for me
Thanks for sharing
academically.
that. So my next question for you, and about extracurricular activities. So do you want to share anyone you feel like have a long-lasting impact in your high school experience?
Yeah, so I played two sports all 4 years of high school, and it's not just the athletic aspect, but you really learn about yourself and how to deal with other people through sports, and I think that's important. I really learned how to communicate. I learned how to lead, but I also learned how to follow and listen when I needed to. You create relationships and you learn how to foster them throughout the season, and it's really a unique experience. And I would encourage people to definitely go out for a sport or a club because it really teaches you about how to deal with other people.
I see. It's kind of team building and maybe involve the leadership and just the people skill.
Yeah. Learning people skills, I think, is just, although it's sometimes undervalued academically through like your schedule, I think it's just as equally as important once you get into the real world.
I see. Thank you. I hope this advice will be useful for our incoming high school students. So another topic was brought up by some parents and the students when they watched my video. So it's really about cyberbullying. So did you ever experience cyberbullying in high school, or your friends experience that? How do they or you overcome that?
Yeah, so I probably never experienced it personally, but it definitely goes on. You see it every single day. There's so many social media apps these days, and everyone has a phone. There's so many ways to connect with each other. So inevitably there's going to be kids out there who are going to take advantage of that in a negative way. And I think in my experience, the best way to deal with it is to hold each other accountable. Um, because yeah, you can get parents involved, you can get teachers involved, but parents and teachers can't deal with it as good as well as other fellow students can, because there's a certain level of respect. Accountability is definitely the most important thing for mitigating cyberbullying.
Thank you. So your point is we need to try to create a like friend network, right? The friend help each other.
Exactly, yeah.
I see. Thank you very much for sharing that. And for our audience, I just want to remind you the Howard County Public School System has a robust and very firm approach to deal with cyberbullying. If you experience that, or if you see some others have been cyberbullied, please report to the school system. There's cyberbullying hotline, and please report that, because cyberbullying now has a very serious problem. We want to make sure our students have a safe environment in the school or even at home. So another question is about college. Right now, you're almost second year in college, right? So how do you feel your experience in college comparing with your expectation when you were in high school?
So I think the scariest thing about college in terms of expectations when I was in high school was that I didn't know what to expect at all. It was a lack of expectations because I just had no idea what it was going to be like. But when I ended up after freshman year, I just realized that college, it's not that different. Besides the accountability that you have to take for yourself and the level of responsibility, you might not have your parents there to stay on top of you, and your teachers don't stay on top of you as much. But in terms of schoolwork and in terms of academics, it's really not too different. You see your teachers less times a week. You're not there every day. But I think it's important for high school kids to understand that although it's scary because you don't know what it's going to be like, it's really not too bad. And again, with AP classes and things like that in high school, once you get to college, you're in a class with 200, 300 other kids sometimes, and not all of those kids took 14 AP classes in high school. So it's really helpful to know that, because there's plenty of kids in college who are just like you and who want to help each other out. And it's definitely more of inter-reliance with other students than it is in high school. And that was really helpful. It makes it a lot easier.
So I see. So your point is like how HCPSS actually helped you build the foundation for the college life.
Yeah, definitely.
And then in college, you need to think about how to manage yourself to be more independent, because your parents and probably old friends will not be around you anymore.
Yeah.
I see. So what's your career goal?
I'm not exactly sure. I'm definitely interested in law school, maybe. But who knows? I'm interested in writing. I love writing. I like reading. And I'm also interested, I'm pursuing a minor in Near Eastern Studies, so I'm obsessed with Middle Eastern politics. So I don't know, something involving a combination of all those things would be great. But right now I'm just trying to still find out exactly what I'm passionate about.
Great, and good luck to your career. And you never know, right? So life is so many opportunities and possibilities lying ahead. I really wish you good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have any advice for HCPSS, for example, where they can improve, where they can change based on your personal experience?
Yeah, so I actually studied this past freshman year, and it's something that I realized when I was in college. Throughout my 13 years in HCPSS, I had one Black teacher, and I saw him every other day in 6th grade. The impact that Black and Brown teachers can have, not only on Black and Brown students, but on white students, can be really profound and significant. When you are especially in elementary school, when your brain is developing, if we want to change attitudes in this country with everything going on right now, it starts in elementary school. And having teachers of color in position of authority for not only students of color, but white kids to look up to, can really change how our brains develop and how biases are formed in our heads. And I think that's one of the most important things for making positive change when it comes to race relations in this country. I think HCPSS needs to do a better job of bringing along teachers of color.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. I agree with you. We need a diverse workforce to really educate our children and make sure they are aware of the diversity, not in the classroom as well, right? And that kind of build foundation for them to accept the difference when they grow up.
Exactly.
I see. Thank you. So do you have a closing remarks?
Not really. Besides, my brother always told me, when you're done elementary school, they tell you, oh, middle school is the big leagues. You got to get ready. At the end of middle school, they tell you, oh, high school, this is where the going gets tough. You better get ready. And then at the end of high school, they tell you, oh, you're going into the real world. No more mistakes. And my brother always told me, if you just work harder and gain more knowledge than the amount of time that passes, then instead of getting harder and harder, it only gets easier and easier. So that's what I would say. As I said earlier, just stay on top of things, read as much as you can, learn as much as you can. And I think if you just work harder than the amount of time that passes, it only gets easier and easier. And that's what I found. And that really helped me throughout high school. And it's helping me in college now too.
Thank you. So I really hope our audience in front of the video really think if we put the continuous effort toward our personal growth, and eventually we can overcome many difficulties we're facing when we grow up for our high school students. And thank you for tuning to Dr. Tao's YouTube channel. I really appreciate this channel provide you an opportunity to understand our students' life and experience in our school system. I hope their advice and their experience will help our incoming high school students. Thank you very much, Cooper.
No problem. Thank you, Dr. Wu.
I really appreciate the time.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.